Alrighty. Hello to every one of the people watching this. This is going to be a second impressions video on Nexus. And the reason for that is after the first game I played, I did another one of these, uh, giving my hot takes on the matter. But it was filmed in portrait and looked like shit. You know, other than my finger being there, other than also sounding like shit. So, yeah, here we are after the second game. It was me against me. We played, both of us, me and me. We played the Famished over here against the Hoarder. And as you can see, the Hoarder died in the end. First of all, this is a bit of a tricked out copy of Nexus. There's the plastic board and the aluminum coins there. These are also columns that I painted long ago. These are the resin ones, and obviously the Hoarder over there, which is not one of the pre-paints. The Famished is though. And is there anything else? I think that's it. Pardon the mess. I obviously have a lot of space, but not a lot of time, so everything's always set up for playing and playtesting down here. So the first game ended in the game actually winning. This time around, the crowd pile is, I think, on 17 or 18, something like that. And the Helots scored 68 to 27. Last time around, it was like 18 gajillion for the barge itself because I kept rolling duplicate turning point counters, so these guys appeared and they did a ton of damage. They did some damage this time around, but a lot of gloating got a lot of cred back from the crowd pile. So if you're not aware of how the game actually works, basically you've got your coins, which are your Helots HP, and when you deal damage, you take the coins out of their slots. There's an overall, and then there's section damage, and you put it in your cred pile, your Lannista's cred pile. In this case, the Lannista's were Bizarro World Grungany and Rotten Jewels over here. So, and that's your cred pile at the end of the game. Whichever Lannister has the largest cred pile and also has more cred than the crowd pile wins. So you want to do as much damage as possible and be the last Helot standing because you get a 10 cred bonus for that. But you also want to keep an eye on the crowd pile, which goes up by various effects. And mostly for my both games, it was just floor saws popping up because I use them a lot, as well as the spikes. But floor saws popped up and dealt damage. Like the environmental damage will go to the crowd pile, and it will build and build and build if you keep rolling duplicates on the trade counters over here. The way you get these duplicates is that at the start of a turn you determine initiative, and you do that by rolling a regular 6-sided die and then a trait die. And during the unboxing, I forgot to mention that these were in the box. There's 4 of these, one for each player. So you roll, and then you get the D6, and you get a trait. So traits have an order on the action menu up here. It goes instinct, deafness, cunning, and then the rest. Both players would roll these, and if there's a tiebreaker, if there's a tie, this is the tiebreaker. So if this was instinct versus physical, say it was like this, the instinct would go first, the instinct Lannister or Helot, and then the physical one would go second, and you would place these in the handily delineated spaces over here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you'd have to allocate this between movement and action points. The D6 value also builds up your turning point counters. Once you fill these up, you draw one of the turning point cards, which do a lot of fun stuff. They're lavishly illustrated. I'm not going to spoil them. But if you roll duplicates, you get hazards. And in this case, we had a bunch of floor saws. And once I actually ran out of these, I also popped up 2 of the spike traps, which was fun. One of the floor saws actually popped up right beneath the hoarder and dealt a lot of damage, and then moved away, and then next turn came back right back at him and did another huge chunk. So that was fun. And the trait die builds up your counters over here. Whoop, there it goes. Another caveat on the unboxing. I said that these custom dice were had a Nexus symbol focus on the 6. This is actually not a 6, this is a 0. So they go 0 to 5. Where's the 5? There it is. And you build these up, and then your helots have their special abilities that they pay out of those traits to use. And then also there are standard things that you can do for 3, 4, or 5 points. And they build up in, spectacle the more you spend. So there was a little back and forth on those being used to varying levels of effect. The hoarder was actually armed to the teeth for the entire game. This was its 3rd weapon. He had a bola to begin with because he boofs. He's got boofing over here. Begins the match with a random crate item, and it ended up being a bola. The weapon, not the... Well, I mean, look at him. It might have been the disease as well. But so he used the bola and then found another one and then found a 2-handed weapon. So he kept firing blanks, basically, because the famished didn't really take a lot of damage. The hoarder actually died via damage to the chest. If this goes below 0, then the helot dies. So that was fun. He still had some overall left, but it took a lot of chest damage. And what else? Yeah, there was a lot of maneuvering. There is a lot of maneuvering in the game. This barge schematic is number 7, I think. It's number 7. You've got blood and guts tiles that were right there. Some of them are gone because of the floor saws. And then there's 4 crates that hold various things in them. In this case, it was weapons and rock ghouls, which dealt, again, a chunk of damage that went to the crowd pile and was then taken back via gloating by the famished with his successful attacks. So the first game took about an hour and a half. There was a bit of rules fiddling, and you can really, I kind of have a direct line to Scott, which is the brilliant mind, one of the brilliant minds behind this, but I didn't really need it because the rules manual is well laid out. I didn't really have to use the QRs here to go to videos either. I would just flip for a couple of pages and find what I was looking for. So the first game did take, I think, 12 turns and about an hour and a half, an hour and 25 minutes. This time it was 10 turns, 45 minutes, disregarding the setup, and it just went by in a blink. Okay, well, what else was I going to say? The most fiddly bit of the setup is actually sorting the coins into the slots over here. Everything else goes by pretty quick. And another, I guess, a bit of a negative thing is, if you can see, this is one of the pre-paints in the box that you get. And these minis have these little slots. Would you focus? There. On the bottom. And on the plastic board, they're a little bit floaty. Like, it's not like you're gonna, keep moving stuff around all the time. Like, they maneuver once or twice and they stay there for the rest of the turn. But the other ones, these are resin, I think these are 3D printed, actually, by the looks of them. But these ones are hollow completely. They have no focus. They have no slots there because these are just glued on. And again, thank you, Radiator Marines, for the lovely job on the hoarder. And these ones are, they're on there. These guys kind of float a bit around, but again, it's not going to be, this is only true for the plastic board, which has these gutters here that the bases are supposed to slot into for easy, easy positioning. This is not going to be an issue on the cardboard board where everything just floats. So there's that. Now, these are the dice that come with the game, and I thought the dice were the problem that, you know, the reason why I was rolling so bad in the first game, but apparently not, because I used these, and I kept rolling like shit. Like for half the game, no damage was dealt, through no fault of the game's mechanisms. Like I was in the position to deal damage from the third turn onwards, and then it just kept failing and failing and failing. So that was fun. But yeah, it's a quick game. It doesn't have a lot of fiddling once you know a thing or two about the circumstantial bits. Setup's not really a hassle other than a bit of sorting going on. These gutters here, these slots where the conditions go, these are great to keep track of everything that's happening. Everything's very tactile and very visual. I really like that. You can check anything at a glance and you kind of know what's happening, and then you got a lot of stuff to fiddle with during the game. There's a bit of a casino feel with throwing the coins back and forth, and all of them are great. The plastic ones as well as the metal ones. They're not the heaviest coins you'll find in board games, but they do their job perfectly well. So I'm probably going to try doing something with these. Sort of, I don't know, maybe a lick of paint and then some blood splatter, something like that. We'll see. So yeah, that's Nexus. I'm looking forward to playing this with another human being live, because I haven't done that in a while. And yeah, happy I backed it. Hope everybody else is. And we'll see where this goes. I'm probably going to do one more thing. These are kind of hard to see at times, especially the traits at the top here. There's also the initiative order is kind of built into the dots over there. 1, 2, 3, and then there's the rest. I'm probably going to do something with these, even if you go like a quick dry brush on them to bring the numbers and the traits up, and as well as the bodily sections over here. That will probably help a bit. My eyesight's a bit dodgy as well, so maybe that doesn't help. But, you know, just as an aside. So, yeah, hope everybody else is enjoying their copy. I sure am. And looking forward to getting more games in.